What's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People podcast. Man, this is going to be such a good show. What a great day. The mood is right. Minicamp is starting, and we have the whole show here. Adam Carlson is here. What's up, dude?
I'm lacking the magic of my green screen because it doesn't seem to want to work, but now you get to see the blanket that I nailed to the wall.
Hey, it works, man. Some days you have it and it's fun, but I don't think anybody's going to complain. We got a midday show in. This is kind of crazy. So wanted to wrangle the boys up before everybody gets busy today or has
before the Milwaukee Bucks game tonight.
Oh, there we go. Are they tied right now with the Nets? They're playing the Nets, right? That'd be a good series to watch. Seems like the Western Conference is just sweeping everyone. So I like to see games that go more than a series that go more than 4 games. That's pretty fun. Kyle West, huge basketball aficionado. He's here with us.
Yes.
I am here. Go with it.
The good news is that A-Rod responded to a fan on Twitter saying that their intention is to keep the Timberwolves in Minnesota.
Really?
Please do. I'm not a big basketball guy, but I don't want to see Minnesota lose any of its big sports franchises. Keep the Timberwolves in Minnesota.
Wow, that's cool. He says the intention. I'll believe that when I see it. But that's
he didn't say intention. I'm saying intention. He said that he's not doing it. So because I'm not sure whether or not I believe him. What the money could be on the table.
Now, did they say where the potential move would be? Or
no.
considerate cities?
I just assume it would be a big market.
That'd be the official way. After all the bullshit from the riots last year and everything and that whole drama, that would be the way the Minnesota burns to the ground. They'd be like, you traded it to Green Bay. Oh my God. Yeah, don't do that. No, it's A-Rod. He's going to chase the money. The rich become richer if he does get out of there. But hey, if they stay, good for the T-Wolves, man.
Bring back the old logo. That's my thought process. Bring back the old Timberwolves logo. I don't like the current one.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the new one's really kind of neat and creative.
I don't know. I like the old one better, but what do I know? I don't follow shit on NBA. My opinion don't matter on this.
Well, it's all right. I know what you do follow, and today's a good day to be a follower of that team. We're going to talk about Vikings football and how the defense got way better over the last 48 hours. This is episode 438 of the Purple People podcast. I have nothing clever, so defense attorneys it is. I wanted to do something clever with Sheldon or with Danielle Hunter, but hey, we'll go with this for the title because I lack creativity. Danielle
hunting season, nothing like that.
Well, I wanted to do a pun with the movie thing, right? And I watched Heavyweights earlier today, classic.
Goodwill Hunting or...
Yeah, I was trying to think about, I typed in those names, I typed in Hunter, I typed in something with defense, blah, 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 just for movie titles and make a pun, but nothing was really coming up in the site that I was using, so whatever.
Gotta use the site in your brain.
I just needed a reference. I don't need that much help, but I was not getting much today. And then I ended up watching Heavyweights, and I don't think that would work. Although there's a relevant correlation there because these are the big boys that got that are going to get all the love today. But Danielle Hunter is back. It's all over Viking social media. If you guys haven't seen, he was there today, and I'm not sure if minicamp started today. I believe it did. They said Sheldon Richardson was wearing a weird number, which we'll talk about him in a little bit. But basically, there's 5 million or so that was shuffled around. This is the cool thing about the deal. I don't have the numbers in front of me, so bear with me because it's not specific. But basically, if the neck injury comes back to bite the Vikings in the ass by next year, they can get rid of him or they can offload it or move money around, whatever they need to do. So they make him happy in the time being. And the thought process is if he comes back, like we all hope, back to form, they can do a huge deal next year. And the cap's going to go up. So it's a win-win for everyone, and the tensions are down.
The biggest non-story of the off-season is officially over. Danielle Hunter is back with the Minnesota Vikings, and hey, he never really left.
Yeah.
No, we had a little holdout there for optional minicamp, but
A little bit. like me and Kyle Smith said, optional is the key phrase to that whole part. Like, if that's a thing the league needs to discuss in the coming CBA negotiations, I personally believe, where maybe this needs to be mandatory if you're a rookie up to your 4th or 5th year option on your contract. Hey, we consider this mandatory. If you're after your 5 year, you're a vested veteran at that point, it's optional, and we really are treating it like optional to where it's don't fucking show up. We don't want you to show up at that point. If you want to, cool, but like you really don't have to. Like, I think that's the direction they really need to go with that. I'm glad to see of course I'm glad to see Danielle Hunter back. Come on. That's a huge part of our defense that we were missing last year.
yeah, that was the biggest question mark heading into this season, is if Minnesota could have Danielle Hunter ready to go.
Yeah.
Last year we got all this stuff about tweaks and he's almost ready to go, and turned out that tweak lasted the entire season. We never got to see him at all. This year we're not hearing about tweaks. We're seeing him on the field in person. A lot of questions have been answered as far as that goes. We're still not really sure who's going to be opposite him on the defensive line at defensive end. But let's be a little bit more honest. With him there on one side, the other side got a little less important.
Right. Yeah. Right. Remember, I use this analogy all the time. When we had Jared Allen and Kevin and Pat Williams, and we made Ray Edwards look like a stud.
Yeah.
Like Ray Edwards. What a
if you have 3 of the 4 locked in, you can get away with. And Ray Edwards was, he was good in his time in Minnesota because he had some great help beside him on that defensive line. We're going to talk about the depth that Minnesota has here in a little bit. I feel like we've got really good depth on this defensive line. I'm not necessarily that worried about who lines up on the opposite end of Danielle Hunter down there, because I feel like we're going to wreak havoc on the quarterback regardless.
No, like I said on the Viking Age podcast, we have a lot of players that are B- to C. Like, if you're grading them based on just random stuff, defensive ends just on this team as far as who are competing for that spot. If one of those players goes down, I have no doubt that another player can step in and play at a decent level.
Yeah, and I think your point, if I'm reading it right here, is that individually you might have some B- guys, but I think you put them together as a whole. You work on this rotation that the Vikings are going to have and the overall depth, where you say, hey, maybe we're midway through the season and a starter gets banged up, and suddenly you can plug in a Shelton Richardson and he can play for a 3 to 5 game stretch.
Right. Shelton Richardson did play 200 plus snaps at defensive end last year.
Right. There's not going to be that huge drop-off in talent that we've seen a lot of times really hurt the Vikings down the stretch, where someone gets injured and we have to stick in whoever, and the drop-off from your starter versus your backup is so much of a drop-off that it just immediately becomes an issue on the team.
Yeah, we did see that on the offensive line and things like that too.
Yeah.
And it's not like we have that kind of depth at a lot of places for the Vikings, but this is actually a really big signing, and he understands that he's coming to this team as a backup, which as itself is important, because I don't think he's ever been a backup in this league.
We're talking about Sheldon Richardson.
Yeah. He started.
Well, yeah, I think the money says that too. It was only like a $3.5 million deal. Incentives, all the incentives don't even make it a $5 million deal. But I think for where he's at in his career, I think that's fine. I think he wants to be a mercenary, kind of like Jadeveon Clowney, but less paid, and still produces about the same. I mean, let's be honest.
Hey, it's a smart move for him too. This late in the off season.
Yeah.
he comes back to a defense that he already knows. He should be able to produce in the role that he's given. He can. I'm assuming him and his agent are hoping, hey, you're going to look good for this year in Minnesota again, and you can hopefully flip this into another larger contract for another team.
Sure.
Next year. So come on in and be that role player for the Vikings for another season. I like it.
Yep. I wanted to shout you guys out that are here. We just had Sean Reynolds jump in. Clifford Tang is here. Olene Adkins as well. Shout out to you guys for joining us. Yeah, we talked about Danielle Hunter officially mending things with the Vikings. And I'd like to say, first of all, I love that the Vikings didn't have much to say at all about this. They're like, hey, we'll get it figured out. Don't worry about it. Worry about it when it's a problem. And I also love the fact that Sheldon Richardson's back that we were just talking about, so we can officially say it on the show. And it came across as an official announcement from ESPN this morning. At least my little app came off and told us that it's a cheap deal. You have Michael Pierce and Dalvin Tomlinson, and you have great depth. Adam mentioned that he lined up at defensive end. A lot of snaps last year too, so it's going to be – and it's weird to say because you kind of got the baseline for what Zimmer loves in his defense. But yet this is another thing of just trying to evolve and get as many pieces as you can. And what we mentioned earlier, the depth there that we have for this defense now is night and day different from what it was last year.
Oh.
That's a relief.
I know that safety is still a little bit of an issue because I don't know who's past the starters. They got to hope that rookie they drafted and is converting from corner over to safety. They got to hope that he's going to be able to step in. Otherwise, they've got that Josh Metellus, who hasn't really played defense but is good on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to kind of hope that Harrison Smith and Xavier Woods stay healthy.
Yep.
On the offensive side, I still have concerns about offensive line just because that's been such an issue historically for the Vikings in the past couple years. I like the draft pick. The first-round draft pick, I think, will be a big improvement. There's still questions on depth on that one and 100% on who's starting at what guard position. We don't quite know yet.
We do.
Do we?
We do. They came out the players themselves actually announced that it will be Ezra Cleveland at left guard.
Okay.
And we're going to have, Garrett Bradbury at center. Then we will have that competition at right guard, which we should all assume is going to go to Wyatt Davis, I believe.
He's already taken first team reps, boys.
Now, that does leave a really versatile player to be the backup. You've got that player that Minnesota traded for from Arizona to come on over, and he's played all three spots. So you've got some real depth there, which is nice. So you're kind of covered, I'll say, for one injury. You've got Hill ready to come in at either tackle, and he can play decent.
I hate you so much.
I know. That's what I'm here for.
That's so good.
As far as offensive line injuries go, I think the team's ready for one. Now, if those start stacking up, then we'll start seeing some issues. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, I am actually okay with OL depth until this stuff starts hitting the fan,
Okay, so show of hands. How about we have no off-season or injuries on the offensive line this year? Like, I'm okay with that. Can we just not have any injuries on the offensive line?
Right here. And you know what? Just to get philosophical on everyone, because the reason you're really saying that, and I think we all here kind of meet in the middle on this, you just want them to have a chance. I want to see what the fully untapped thing, like last year, the offense, top 5 at some points of the season after a slow start. Justin Jefferson comes on. Dalvin Cook's great. Adam Thielen's still awesome. Kirk had one of the best career seasons of his career, and the defense was trash. I want it all to come together because you want to gauge and see, okay, what is the Vikings ceiling if things go right? And I don't know. We'll see.
Offense looks like it'll return good. Defense is doing their best not to look like last year. And special teams is a gigantic question mark.
Kirk Cousins is already having good rapport with Patrick Peterson. He's been doing a good job of throwing the ball to Patrick Peterson.
We can freak out about OTA throws.
Oh, 100%. Let's cut him right now. Kellen Mond time. Hashtag
Well,
Kellen
speaking
Mond.
of Kellen Mond, what a great segue. He officially signed over the last 48 hours his rookie deal. So congratulations to him for making it official.
Is he wearing Dante Culpepper's number? Is he number 11?
He is number 11.
Number 11. I like that.
Does he still hate Minnesota?
I don't think so. I would assume no. I love that kid. I was very happy with his
kids tweet the dumbest stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they do.
You can go through someone's Twitter and you can find anything.
Oh yeah,
you can find basically anything.
Back when I used to play those hashtag games, I bet you I said some terrible stuff that I thought was funny, but probably not very politically correct.
Right. I'd be terrified to go back and look at like my Facebook because I've had this same Facebook profile since I was in high school. And
you'll hate yourself.
Oh, every now and then it'll be like, hey, remember when you posted this from 15 years ago? And I'll be like, holy shit.
I even hate the stuff they remind me of sometimes.
Yeah.
Like they reminded me once of how excited I was that I drafted Ray Rice in fantasy football. I'm like, oh boy.
Oh no.
Hey, I had a question for you guys. We kind of got off subject a little bit here, so let's bring it back to football a little bit. Shelton Richardson was cut for Jadeveon Clowney. That's what the Cleveland Browns basically did. So who would you guys rather have on your team, Richardson or Clowney?
I like Richardson because he has familiarity, but let's be real. I think, and I'm not hating the guy for you guys. I'll say this again. Probably every time I have to say this on the show. I'll never hate an NFL player for getting as much money as they can over a career because it's violent. Yeah. It leaves CTE with a lot of these guys, and you put yourself on the line. That being said, now I got to about face and talk a little bit of shit. I think Jadeveon Clowney is one of the most overrated NFL players I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I don't think he's worth the money. I think he'll thrive in Cleveland because Myles Garrett is a man-child. And, you know, it's a good sit. They're a legit team, finally.
They are.
But I would rather have Sheldon Richardson. I would rather have, and I think he could be just as effective because Clowney's good at stopping the run. I don't know how, he's not a great pass rusher. So if he's good at the run and okay at the stopping, pass, and getting a couple sacks, isn't that what Sheldon Richardson is, but a lot cheaper?
Yeah, if the money's the same, I'll take the pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think that the hype around Clowney is a lot higher. He's not getting ridiculous like Albert Hainsworth overpaid, but he's definitely maximizing his contracts.
Yeah, I think Cleveland, because they've been trying to sign Clowney for a couple seasons now. They've been trying to get him. They have clearly coveted him for a while now, and this was their opportunity to go for it. And I think they went for a guy that they've just been coveting. Honestly, maybe I'm biased because I'm a Vikings fan, but I really think they probably should have kept Shelton Richardson and not went for Clowney like what they did. Like I would rather have Shelton Richardson over top of Jadeveon Clowney, just because. Who do you think is going to be healthier?
Yeah,
it's gonna be Shelton. Jadeveon Clowney is going to be injured. Like Shelton Richardson. He can stay healthy and start for a full season. Clowney, when is the last time he's done that?
But it's weird to look at teams and see what positions they are really good at drafting and developing.
Yeah.
Minnesota, of course, they can draft and develop defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. They've shown that.
Running backs?
Running backs, they can draft and develop running backs pretty darn well. Wide receivers, they can grab some of the mid to late round guys and they can turn them into decent players. Even corners, Mike Zimmer can grab them and he can get the most out of them. But when it comes to quarterbacks, Minnesota can't really get that done. And the Browns, they've got their talents as far as drafting and develop too. And seeing how different the league is when it comes to how important it is for what team lands what rookies. I think that gets overlooked a lot because people will look at the talent of the player, the fit on the roster, but they never really look at the fit of the player to the team as far as coaches and staff go. And I think one of the main reasons why Minnesota gets a lot of these players that want to come back is because they respect what a lot of the staff is doing. Minnesota is one of the last teams I personally feel in the NFL. Minnesota is one of the last teams in the NFL to still have the old football mentality. A lot of teams have moved to new coaches, newer GMs, just newer lifestyles that bring in this younger, fresher, different era of football. And Minnesota is still smash mouth, will punch you in the face. Here's old Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman doing their thing. And it's still old school in a time when the NFL has been changing. And a lot of players that have been around the league a little longer, they see that, they respect that, they understand that. I think that that's wonderful that those kind of players want to come to Minnesota.
Sure. Well, he's got a great personality, especially with I think defensive guys. As long as you're not in your feelings about stuff, you can understand. Okay, who's going to challenge me? Mike Zimmer's going to challenge me. Who's going to try to get the best out of me? It's going to be him. And I think over the years, I won't say that he's gotten softer, but I think he's found a better way to connect because you hear those stories about him being like the D coordinator in Atlanta and Cincinnati, and he's just ripping people apart.
Yeah.
I don't think he does that anymore. He'll throw some jabs at you, but
he has to soften it up a bit. I mean,
he also is. Zimmer is also smart enough to understand that as the head coach, he has to be maybe a little more. I don't know if relatable is the word I'm looking for, but he has to be more available to the whole team than just as a defensive coordinator. He could rip into the fucking defense if necessary, and I'm sure he still does in meetings. But as the head coach, he has to captain the whole ship. So he can't quite be the Zimmer that we've seen on Hard Knocks. Like you can't quite get that out of him all the time. Although we still see him blow up on the sidelines.
we did see a little bit of that because like the relationship between him and Jaron Kearse. Kearse didn't respond well to Zimmer's style of leadership, and he was vocal about it on social media. And
I'm sorry, keep going.
And it's a reason that he really struggled in Minnesota is that he felt that he wasn't getting his opportunities because he was getting held back, when instead it was because he wasn't really buying into the system and the coaches and everything like that. I mean, it was just a player in a really bad fit for that player.
Sure.
Who was the player that came in from Carolina?
Captain Munnerlyn. I was just going to say that. Captain
Munnerlyn, who wanted to freelance.
He wanted to freelance as a corner, and it's like, bro, and he's out of the league now. He's been out of the league for a couple years. And I'm like, you could have stayed longer. People need corners. But that stuff gets around. I mean, Adam was talking about that now. I want to go back to this because we all four have different wide receiver threes that we want. Clifford Tang says, we'll go to the Super Bowl for sure if we sign Larry. Talking about Larry Fitzgerald. Adam wants D.D. Westbrook.
I do.
That's kind of why we were bringing this around with the Captain Munnerlyn stuff. Thank you, Kyle. But Adam said in our chat yesterday, it's a little concerning that he hasn't signed with anyone yet because he's a pretty good talent. Kyle West is definitely Team Jarius Wright. And I'm over here screaming, 2 years ago, we had Aldrick Robinson. Bring him back. Please bring him back. That would be amazing. I would love that so much.
But the coaching staff says they really love that kid out of Iowa State, I think it is.
Sure.
And that he's going to get looks at wide receiver 3. And the biggest knock on him coming to Minnesota was that he has a little bit of slippery hand syndrome. So hopefully he can keep his fingertips on the football and haul in these catches that he supposedly missed during his college career. I'll admit I haven't gone back and watched a lot of game footage on him to see how bad these drops are if they're situational or what they are. But yeah, I've seen that reported multiple times that it's the drops that worry him there. And I don't know. Personally, I like I said, I've yet to see it personally, but I just want to make sure that there's something there behind the starters to be able to make things happen. I know people love Chad Beebe. I know BC Johnson was a starter at the beginning of the season last year, but I don't. Yeah,
I'm not.
I'm not emotionally available to love that caliber of player at this point in time.
Yeah.
It's not you, it's me.
It's and I you never know with the rookies. I mean, you don't know what we could have the next Stephon Diggs on the roster right now and not even know it. Like, we could have that level
Sure.
talent sitting out there because they haven't played in the NFL yet. They're not taking a snap yet in the NFL. I think the reason why a lot of us three are gravitating right now towards maybe we want to bring in a veteran guy, because we're looking at this team and I think we all kind of feel like we have the potential to do something this year with this roster that we're putting together. And it's not that I don't trust the rookies, but you would also, I just want to have that veteran, that Jarius Wright depth guy on the team who, we're down the stretch. I would trust Jarius Wright to make us a play, to win us a game right now if we had to, or any of the guys that you mentioned. Like,
Yeah.
they've been in the league. They're capable of stepping up in a situation and making a play. It's like the Greg Lewis in the back of the end zone kind of catch. It's that kind of thing. You get that from a veteran player who's been there. And I don't quite trust the rookies on the team to do that just yet. It's why I always talk about how we need to have larger NFL rosters. At this point, we're adding more games to the season. We're adding more teams to the playoffs. Having that depth is crucial. Give us more players on the roster.
Bump it up to 60.
Bump it up to 60. If they could do that, we could have Jarius Wright right now. Yep. I'd sign Jarius Wright, and you keep him on the roster. If he's inactive half the season, but you got to rely on him, he'll win you a playoff game if you need to. Like, that's where I come from. That's how I look at this. Also, what's up, Sergio? Thanks for joining us. And Jake, what's up? I want to go on a little bit of a comparison tangent here because I was watching Bussin' with the Boys since I'm out here in Nashville, Tennessee, where I live currently. I love Taylor Lewan. I hear his voice every day at the airport when I walk around because he's an advertiser here. And Mike Vrabel, too. I don't know why they don't have Derrick Henry or my Tannehill on there, but maybe they can get Julio Jones to say something cool now because he got traded to the Titans. And why I bring that up on this show, you ask? We're talking about a wide receiver 3, and I'm thinking about these 2 stud wide receivers we have in Minnesota. And Taylor Lewan and Will Compton on Bussin' with the Boys, they bring up this really good point of look out for this guy named the Turkster or whatever his name is. They call him the Turkey. It's like, it's our tight end here in Tennessee. He's like, he's going to have a breakout year because you got to cover both of those guys. You got Derrick Henry in the back. I'm like, we have that same kind of offense. We keep saying it. We keep pounding the table. I don't expect him to have 10 touchdowns and, 1,400 yards, but Irv Smith, he can do the job. He can do the job just fine. And I'm really excited for him to, as we talked about last week, you weren't here, Kyle, but he's going to slide into the Rudy role, and he's not going to be hurt all the time. No offense to Rudy. That's what happens with age. I think he's a viable third option, and he can do everything. Go off play action, coming off play action. You don't want to go bomb it down the field. Those guys are covered. Middle of the field's going to be open with that dude. Yards after catch. Hey, yards after catch with Irv Smith. We love Kyle Rudolph. His time in Minnesota was great. Not so good at yards after catch. Like, you get him the ball, he goes down. Irv Smith has more of that ability to make a pass, maybe kind of a check down across the middle and turn it into a larger play. I do think he'll play a big role in the offense this year. And I do feel Irv is more willing of a run blocker as well. Yeah. We've already seen a bit more of that, and I'm a fan of having Conklin as the guy to step in when they need an extra guy on the field. So that kind of makes it a little bit easier in terms of being able to
go a little bit more without having a confirmed wide receiver 3.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Minnesota is one of those teams that's old school, still runs with a fullback as well. And I still get a little excited when I see CJ Ham catch the ball out of the backfield. That makes me happy inside.
I mean, concerns about the third wide receiver are valid. This team is also going to run through Dalvin Cook first and foremost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We all know that. That's not a shocking or bold statement that this offense runs through Dalvin Cook.
So do you think that the Vikings are going to try to limit Dalvin Cook throughout the season? Or are we just going to see Dalvin Cook handle the big workload until he ends up going down again?
I hope they manage it. I hope they manage it, but I think that it's going to be the latter. I really hope they manage it. I really hope Alexander Mattison can have a little bit more of a role, and I really hope that they can pick their poison some weeks and say, hey, look, dude, enjoy the money you got. We love you to death, but this is a Jefferson Thielen game, and I need you to be okay with 8 touches and 40 yards. I need you to be okay with that because we're going to throw the ball like crazy here. That's not what this team does. We know that. Everybody in the chat, and we all 3 of us know that. This team runs the shit out of the ball, so I hope that they'll balance it because no greater time do you need Dalvin Cook than down the stretch trying to get into the playoffs or in the playoffs, and that's when I want to see him go off. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think they'll do what Kyle's talking about, what you guys are talking about. I think they're just going to use and abuse that kid.
It's tough because you have to balance we would like to limit his snaps, but you also have to win the game in front of you right now. So, Right. So I think that we can say, oh, yeah, we're going to try to limit his snaps and keep him healthy for the postseason. You got to make the postseason. And that's probably going to mean we're just going to run the shit out of him. And there will be a 3 or 4 game stretch probably where it's going to be Madison is going to be the guy, and we're going to have to rely on our 2 stud receivers, which thankfully we have a couple stud receivers, and then we get Cook back, and that's just kind of how it goes with him.
And how much better do you feel from a fan standpoint after Minnesota spent such a higher draft pick on bringing in a running back 3?
Well, what we've heard, they pounded the freaking table for that dude. So I hope, your role as a running back 3 is, hopefully I get to see the field at some point today, but make an impact. Whether it's small or big, make a positive impact. And if that happens, you've done your job.
Okay, now how does that change when you look at it from a coaching standpoint if you're a coach of the Vikings?
In what way?
I guess I would say that from a coaching perspective, we were atrocious on special teams. So spending that higher draft pick on a third running back that, okay, he's going to get maybe a little bit of time because you can count on Dalvin Cook to kind of be banged up. And so your third running back comes into the second spot there for a little bit. But you're looking at that for really good depth on special teams is where we needed to improve. So I think that's where they were looking at it from a roster standpoint.
Because to me, it kind of shows that you can get special teams guys in the late rounds. That's no big deal. But investing earlier in a position where most people would say, yeah, we're good. We got 2 running backs that can run at a good level. But now you're bringing a third running back. Is that already in anticipation that you're going to be spending time without your running back 1? Because Minnesota isn't a team that tends to draft a lot based on insurance.
Right. That's a good point.
Dalvin Cook's only 25, but with the injury history that he's had, that does make you, it's a smart move because you kind of, I don't want to say you're preparing for the future, but you do.
See, this is the kind of conversation I wanted to have with you. It's a tough one because you love Dalvin Cook. You know he's an absolute game changer. When he's healthy and on the field, he is 100% a player that can take a game over and absolutely dominate it.
Here's the thing with running backs, though. Once they're gone, they're gone. They hit that cliff. They hit the cliff. I mean, that's just what happens with him. So I do understand with Dalvin Cook's injury history that you would want to prepare for, well, in case he has another knee injury or something that should come up where he misses a significant amount of time. He might come back and he never might be able to play at the high level again.
Well, the other part of that too, in my opinion, is we know that drafting a running back in the third round you're not the Cook replacement, right? Everybody knows that. But you want to have the depth to where, and this is just me as a casual fan to say, okay, if he goes down, the rest of the depth isn't like, oh my God, we're on life support. Yeah, it's not going to be what you're used to. And he is the offense, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But at least we can kind of, well, maybe if the defense plays like they used to play under Zimmer, maybe we can squeak out a 24-21 win. Whereas if Dalvin was there, you could win by 10 points. I don't know. That's how I hope that I feel about it. Realistically, are all the rookies going to come in and play like Justin Jefferson did at his position in their respective positions? Probably not. Probably not. But like you're saying, Kyle, if you come in and can make an impact on special teams, and I don't know, maybe just have a game where they've ran the shit out of the ball and the guys need a break, and then they come in and break off an 11-yard thing on first down. It's like, oh shit, we moved the chains and we had good field position. Then that turned into a field goal. You're like, okay, this dude was a good investment. Thanks for your participation in your 2 carries today. I don't know, maybe. Yeah. I'm trying not to think about Dalvin Cook getting hurt.
Because Dalvin leaves the field. This team becomes a passing offense.
Right.
Or does it? Do you think that is a swing? Can the Vikings rely on Madison and this rookie to be a duo? Does it turn into a committee behind him? Could it turn into a committee now?
I don't think it'll turn into a committee now. My counter question is, I don't know anything about this kid. I don't know what kind of style he has. Is he a bowling ball like Matt Asiata used to be? Can he catch the ball and is quick like Jet McKinnon used to be? Obviously, he's probably not the next Adrian Peterson. He would have been drafted very high. So I need to know what kind of game he has. In Kyle Smith's world of perfect running back tandems in a specific rabbit hole, I like one guy like we have now who does pretty much everything really well. And then I like another guy who's very good at one or two things. And then, yeah, he can try this other stuff. But I like a little variety. So it's not as predictable. Because if you have 2 guys that do the same thing well, pretty easy to plan for, but I'd like to cover the possibilities around and spread those out. I don't know what kind of running back this kid is. I just know the Vikings really wanted him.
This is a running. Oh, we lost Adam. This is a running back from Iowa State that we're talking about. So he's a smaller back. He's going to be more of your speedy, kind of shifty guy. He's kind of your one that you want to. You get him in some open spaces, and he can put some moves on and use his speed to kind of get out into the open field with it. That's why I think he's going to be a big contributor on special teams, because he'll be able to do that. Use his speed to make some guys miss and then be out in the open field.
Well, we know that the kick return is eventually not going to be a thing anymore. It's only a matter of time. But we have a kick returner. I think Amir Abdullah is that. We need a punt returner, because KJ Osborne hasn't lived up to that whatsoever. It's an epic disappointment. So I don't know. Maybe he could find himself doing that. That's kind of what running backs and corners do when they have to participate on special teams. So
I do think that I do think Minnesota is preparing for a running back committee because Cook is not good. I mean, he's only 25. He's got a lot of time left, we hope. But the days of having your singular running back like a Dalvin Cook that your offense runs through are pretty much done. I think every team is the running back by committee. And so the Vikings are smart to invest in having that depth at that position. They wouldn't be entirely wrong to start to do that this year as well. You know that?
Right. It's not a bad idea.
No.
It would be weird. I obviously think that it wouldn't be as balanced. It's not going to be split like 30-30-30. And then, every now and again, Amir Abdullah gets in and gets that 10%. But it would be weird to see. But for the longevity, I mean, it makes sense. And these are pro players. You know, there are calibers and levels to these guys, but they're going to make the team and they're going to fit a system. They should be able to produce at something. Now, obviously, like I said, for the levels, Dalvin Cook, there's always a threat for him to take it the whole way. But I don't know. I don't know how you employ that too. Do you just do a whole series like, hey, this drive we're using Madison, this drive we're using Cook.
Mhm.
Oh shit, we got an interception. There's a little bit of time there. All right, Cook's going to go back in when we start the second half. You know, we're just going to throw the new kid out there because, hey, we've got a 10-point lead.
See, here's the
I don't
thing
know how
that
that works.
Here's the thing that I don't like about that is at the end of the day, you got to play the hot hand.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, that's going to be Dalvin Cook. So we can sit here and we can say, yeah, we're going to limit his snaps, and we believe in Madison. I believe in Madison too. We've seen him make plays. He's a good playmaker for the team. He's no Dalvin Cook though. So if we're looking at this going, hey, the Vikings are behind by 2 scores, and we're at the start of the fourth quarter, who do you want? Dalvin Cook, or do you want the kid from Iowa State? I mean, you want Dalvin Cook out there. He's our Cadillac that makes our offense go. He's the player that you want on the field.
Well, that's another thing. Another great second point to that is when you're winning, it should never be about, okay, let's try not to lose the game and pull a Falcons in the Super Bowl and shit the bed and roll around in it.
Yeah.
It should be, no, we're Kansas City and I'm going to score 70 points on you because fuck you, we're better than you. That's how it should be.
That's why I keep coming back to this point that depth is so important in today's NFL, more so than ever, because you have to have playmakers for when you're down the stretch, when you're going into the playoffs. That's why Tampa Bay, I think why they had so much success. A player goes down. Who was the running back that went down? And then they inserted another one in playoff time. And it's like you don't miss a beat. You just keep going.
Yeah, they had I forget, Ronald Jones, maybe. He's good. Great highlight last year. We broke one off pretty much at the goal line in Carolina against the Panthers and just ran it for like a 95-yard touchdown.
And then
and then they had Leonard Fournette. They signed Leonard Fournette. They didn't need him. And then he just shows up in the playoffs and just dominates everyone when he gets a chance.
That's why, and Vikings fans are going to love me for this one. Sign Adrian Peterson. Find me a roster spot for AP. We don't need Adrian Peterson, but like you said, down the line, hey, Adam got his green screen working. Or he drove all the way to the Vikings practice facility.
Yeah, he made it there pretty quick, guys.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Oh, the illusion's gone. Oh, you broke the illusion.
Now I have it backwards.
There you go.
We're continuing talking about this running back thing and how it's going to be
a situation, isn't it?
It is. We were talking about how you can't really game plan for that. You know, you want to take a hot hand, as Kyle was talking about. And I mentioned just now that I hope the Vikings keep this approach because it's not been the way they've thought recently. I don't want to see this team get a lead and then try not to lose the game and play conservatively. This is not the way you win in the NFL now.
And we have seen the Vikings do that.
It's annoying and it's frustrating because then you end up with these games like Seattle last year. And it's like you should have kept the foot on the gas, like I mentioned maybe 2 minutes ago before you joined, like the Kansas City Chiefs. Put your foot on their throat and kill them. Don't give them a chance to come back. And I want to see that aggressiveness. Have you ever heard Pat McAfee talk about how much players hate the prevent defense for that very reason? He said that players absolutely hate when coaches call prevent defense at the end of the game. I bet they do. Where it's like, we have been going, we've been getting after the quarterback, we've been having good success, and then all of a sudden you just completely change the game plan and pull us off, and then you're going to let the professional fucking players on the other team just drive the ball down the field. Well, here's my counter. I don't want to say counter. My additional point to that. These guys are savages. They are savage athletes. Yes. They are meant to go out and just murder each other on the field. That's their job, right? All but murder someone. And you wouldn't want to they only play for 60 minutes. Now, I'm not discrediting anybody that plays professional football. It's hard for a 10-second play if it even lasts that long. But you get a 60-minute window with breaks in between to rest and a 15-minute break at the half. I don't know why you wouldn't let them take full advantage of that, because
I mean, we know why. We know
why would you make
I-
it any easier for the other team?
We know why. I have to bring up 1998. I have to bring up the 1998 season. It's because when a player like John Randall gets injured on the game before the Falcons game, where the Vikings have it won, and John Randall is that killer, he's going 110% on the last play of a game that's already won. He gets injured, and then boom. What has he said? That he came out against Atlanta and he was at, what did you say, 30-40% tops for that one?
But he wasn't going to miss it, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's why coaches will, ease up at the end of a game.
And that's why the Falcons let him back in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. You can't win. You can't win either way.
In Super Bowl.
What's
What was that?
How do you take your foot off the gas in the Super Bowl?
I have no idea.
Well, I have to say this too, even though he did beat the crap out of the Vikings in San Francisco that year. Kyle Shanahan's kind of got a record of doing that. You let Patrick Mahomes, you gave Patrick Mahomes a Super Bowl. And what a narrative that would be against the superstar himself right now if he had 2 back-to-back Super Bowl years and he lost both of them, because the Niners should have annihilated the Chiefs. I'm sorry, and I hate to say it that way. They should have beat the crap out of them. They have actual trees with arms on that defensive line that come out to murder
brutal.
people. And you let it go. And that's just for that point, to keep it sort of relevant for the show. That is crazy to me, because the Falcons were going on a freaking tear. I forgot already, and it was only 4 years ago that Matt Ryan was the MVP 4 years ago.
Oh yeah,
forgot all about it. But what an epic choke fest that was!
It's crazy how quick the way the league is set up now. You can have a team like Atlanta, where you can be like, man, they look like they could be the next stud superstar franchise, and then it just kind of peters out after that for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I didn't really understand. And I had the argument about that Super Bowl. Did the Falcons implode, or the Pats that good? No, they're going to take advantage of it. I think it was more of the Patriots being that good. I don't know how you score 25 points in 18 minutes. That's absurd. I'm happy if the Vikings get 2 touchdowns in a quarter.
Fucking 2 touchdowns.
And make both fucking extra points. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. What a great day it is.
Yeah.
Especially for all that was on the line with that game, but whatever. I've seen a lot of Viking Twitter going along, and they're already proclaiming this is the Super Bowl year and blah, blah, blah. This is a fun time to bring it back to the show and the episode. I love the fact that this drama that was starting to build with Danielle Hunter is gone, and Sheldon Richardson, much like Xavier Woods, signing on the cheap and saying, hey, come back. Let's just do the thing, because it's been a weird last, 365 days with COVID. Come over here, man. We could use your help.
Yeah.
Why not? And I love it. We had it earlier in the chat. I want to say this. I want to bring it back up because I said this in our personal chat here. But Sean Reynolds says, Zimmer said no more after the Saints game. That's what I said in the chat. And I'm sorry, I'm going to swear, but Mike Zimmer had the worst game in pretty much his head coaching career, probably ever. And he was like, absolutely the fuck not. We're not ever doing that again. And before you joined on, we said that if Hunter gets hurt and Cook gets hurt and Richardson sucks and Kirk is terrible,
Patrick Peterson is washed up.
Whatever. At least the Vikings tried, and I can say, no. They had a game plan this year, and they absolutely nailed it with the attempt. Because what I would hate to see them do is just sit in free agency and just say, well, we're kind of tied up with the cap, and we'll coach the young guys. No, they're being aggressive as hell, and what's great too? No Aaron Rodgers still in Green Bay. So that just improves the chances for this team. Send him away.
One thing I did want to touch on that for a minute. I talk a little bit too much about Aaron Rodgers on this podcast, but this is I feel is another thing that I just got to talk about. Now, the Vikings, they are very, very good at attempting to handle things in-house. I talked about that last week. They aren't going to take to social media. They aren't going to do a lot of these things that just absolutely baffle people. Now, when Green Bay held a press conference, and I can't remember the exact word they used. I think it was complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they call
I think
Aaron Rodgers a complicated fella, and this is from their owner or GM one.
Yeah, that's
Why would you do that?
not great.
You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna go on the tangent that Pat McAfee said because I want to bolster Adam's point. That dude is a Hall of Famer, and I don't care that you say, "Oh, we'll do a defense in this." Mike McCarthy wasn't that great of a coach, and it's going to show in Dallas because he's not going to be there very long. And they got a freaking hell of a roster there too.
They do.
Aaron Rodgers, if you put him on any team the last 13 years since they've won the Super Bowl and he's like starting, you are going to win 10 games every year if that dude isn't hurt. You're going to. It's like an automatic. And that was with a 16-game season. Now we got 17. It might go up to 11. And the dude still has, at least I believe, taken care of his body for maybe 5 years left. He's only 37. It's not that hard to see that now. And to your point, I don't know how you don't at least make the attempt. You call Tom Brady and say, hey, look, what's your thoughts? We're going to get a backup in the third round or second round or whatever. Cool, whatever. That's fine. If he was washed up and he was like Phillip Rivers, because I just love to hate on Phillip Rivers for no reason, I could see them not calling and be like, yeah, dude, you're at the door. Why would we call you? He's the MVP. Why would you not do that? Yeah. But hey, you know what? We're not a Green Bay podcast. The dude's a hell of a player, and he's done a lot of good things. Please go off to Las Vegas or Denver and go do your business there. We would love that.
Yeah, this brings back to Minnesota, as I was talking about, and how the Vikings were able to negotiate things, keep things in-house with Danielle Hunter, keep all the conversations from spilling out into the public, not making a big deal out of it. Well, the national media is trying to create storylines to divide the two parties apart. And that's what they're doing. They're just trying to get clicks by creating stories where there really aren't stories. So, yeah, there was probably some disagreement, and Hunter and his agents were probably trying to get a little bit more money because, yeah, they signed a contract before they realized how good Danielle Hunter really is.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know what?
I think
it all got handled in-house. It got handled quietly. He showed up for camp. He got his money. He got either the chance to make more money in the future or a chance to cash in somewhere else if the team doesn't think that he is the player he was. And honestly, I don't see how this deal for Hunter didn't work out the best for absolutely everybody.
Do you know what I think really helps Minnesota in situations like this? We have our leadership for the Vikings from the owners, the Wilf family, Rick Spielman, and Mike Zimmer. None of them really care all that much about social media.
No.
Or Zimmer especially doesn't.
The beat reporters.
Or the beat reporters or any of that stuff. So it's really easy for this team to just deal with stuff in-house. You have other coaches, other ownership. You could point to a John Gruden and a Mike Mayock. Those two love to talk to the media. They're going to air whatever they want out to the media, to the beat reporters. You look at some ownership. You look at Jim Irsay of the Colts. He's going to be on Twitter giving his 2 cents. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's a bad thing. But that allows more of that dirty laundry to seep out. None of the Wilfs don't care. Spielman don't care. Mike Zimmer especially does not care about talking to the media. So we don't really have that issue.
Oh man. You think that Mike Zimmer's personal? I think I figured that out just now. Mike Zimmer's personal hell is being strapped to a chair like an electric chair, but there's no electricity. He just has to talk to Chris Thomason for the rest of eternity.
Like that's his trap in the movie Saw. It's just like Mike Zimmer.
Well, the other thing that crossed through my head too is it's so random, guys, but it's so true. I love the movie Draft Day just because I adore Kevin Costner and he's talking.
I still need to see that.
Don't get your hopes up for it. It's meh, but it's football and it's cool because it's new and relevant, right? But he's talking to Chadwick Boseman because he's the star linebacker in the draft, and he's like, "Hey, get off of Twitter. Us GMs hate that shit." And it's like you have to applaud Adam for that point. The Vikings don't they clearly show their players that they're interested in them, and they're like, hey, look, if you can just do you and just, hey, we're not saying you can't post pictures and what you're doing in your life and that you're working out, that's fine.
Right.
Don't talk to anybody about the shit. We'll handle it together, because that's the best way to do it. Because I can't imagine how much that divides a locker room up and causes unnecessary tension when the national media is talking about it.
Yeah.
It's happening in Green Bay right now.
You need a head coach who does not want to be a superstar, because the head coach's job is to manage the superstars on the team and keep their egos in check and in-house. It has to be difficult for like John Gruden, after spending all that time with ESPN and everything, where he's a bigger star than some of the players on the team, and he knows that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is just a weird dynamic where I don't know how John Gruden, and I think that's why he pisses off players. I don't know how that works. I don't think that works.
And then you got Green Bay's social media team. Jordan Love has just been struggling really bad. He had one really good day, and they pieced together all his highlights and posted it up like he was just having this absolutely amazing training camp. And even Packer fans are calling it out, saying, yeah, why don't you show some of the other stuff that's been going on?
I don't know. I would feel bad for that team's fan base if they hadn't been so good for the last 22 years or whatever it's been, 25 years.
It doesn't matter. They'll still say, where's your ring?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
As soon as you bring up anything, it's where's your ring?
Well, that's the other thing, too, I love. Colin Cowherd was making fun of them for that. It's like, cool, everybody in Green Bay says, well, I own part of the team. It's like, oh, you do? Go sell it then. Tell me how much it's worth.
Yeah.
You guys don't own shit. Shut up. Maybe you own a hot dog bun that you bought from that stadium that you kept in your house, or like a seat or something. So stupid.
I still haven't gone to actually physically see my brick. I've never found it.
You know what? When I go this year, I'll find it and I will figure out how I can get that to you.
I just want a picture of it in the ship.
Is it on the ship?
I don't know. You've got the piece of paper that says where it is.
That is long gone.
And Mr. Smith has the brick.
I sure do, boys. It stays right up here. Legacy brick.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
That. When I go,
that was a cool idea. You know that? I'm glad the team.
I'm glad we did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like. Well, yeah, that was a fantastic idea. It's one of my favorite keepsakes here. Saw some people doing this, not comparing the two, obviously, because that'd be weird, but a lot of people go down to the memorials for their veterans, and they'll go in the piece of paper and
the rubs, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If I can do that when I go, I'll definitely mail that to you guys, because I think that's cool to be a part of that particular place. I haven't even gone to this stadium. I'm still looking at it like, oh, how cool. I haven't even gone to the stadium, but you see it on TV, and you're like, holy shit. What a state-of-the-art place. That's awesome. And it won't collapse on you, knock on wood. So that's really good.
Maybe.
Hopefully
global
not.
warming. We get a lot of snow now, so you never know.
So in my absence, did you guys talk about Laquan Treadwell visiting to the Jaguars?
Get out of here. It's on my Instagram feed. I was just going to say that. It's the first thing that popped up. Laquan Treadwell, number 6, down there in Jacksonville. I didn't know until just now. That's crazy.
Oh, it's done. It's a done deal?
I don't know. It says birthday vibes, 26, rocking 6. Not sure if he's officially signed, but
good for him.
He could be catching passes from old Trevor Lawrence.
Tim Tebow, what are you talking about?
I thought it was funny seeing the Jacksonville coach and I believe it's one of the other members of the coaching staff during an AEW pay-per-view.
He's just trying out 24/7 Sports one day ago said he's trying out for Jacksonville at Jaguars minicamp. Okay.
Yeah, I hope he gets signed somewhere because he is working extremely hard and he doesn't lack a lot of talent. It's just his body kind of gave out a little bit, and he needed a little bit of a reminder.
He was confusing. I didn't understand. I don't understand. I couldn't ever figure out exactly what happened with Laquan Treadwell. It just never clicked.
No.
It's kind of weird too, because physically he has all the traits. I mean, he wasn't that speedy, but he's a freaking physical specimen. So I thought for sure if he wasn't going to stretch the field, he was going to catch a ton of touchdowns. He didn't do that either. So
did you bring him back as a third or fourth option? Absolutely not.
Laquan Treadwell?
No.
I don't think it's a good fit.
No.
At this time, it's better just to explore some other options.
He had too much of a case of the drops as well, too. It was like, well, if we can't count on you to make a big play, and we can't count on you to be sure-handed and make some catches across the middle, then I really don't know what we can do with you.
Yeah.
It was his time to go. Remember how relieved we were when he got released? Like,
I do now. I forgot about
it. It
that.
was time.
Yeah.
It was definitely time.
He was given more opportunities than he probably should have in Minnesota as well, too. They really tried to make it work for Laquan Treadwell.
I'm going to get really sad now because now we're going to start talking about all the terrible wide receivers that the Vikings have had. When we've got two really good ones now, and we had two really good ones before Diggs left as well. And I'm like, oh, I forgot that was a thing. You just go out and get, and even Patterson. I love Cordero Patterson as a return man, but he wasn't that good as a receiver. And it's like,
no,
Patterson. Where did he end up now?
I don't know where he's at. Let me.
Is he still in Chicago, or did he?
I think he's. Still
I think he's a free agent. Did he re-sign with Chicago?
I thought he got signed somewhere.
Oh, he's with the Falcons now.
Okay.
Wide receiver and return specialist for the Atlanta Falcons.
All right.
All right, then.
He's okay as that third or fourth wide receiver option, because at this point I feel like he's
good as your gunner.
he's your he's a core special teams guy.
Yeah.
And you know that he's a third or a fourth receiver at best. You can make a couple plays with him. You're not trying to shoehorn him into a receiver 1 or 2 spot anymore. So
hey, you better put some respect on his name, though. That's Super Bowl champion Cordero
Patterson. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In the worst Super Bowl of all time, but good for him. Well, I think talking about all that, I think we've kind of ran our course here today. I don't know about you, gentlemen. I think that's about it. We just wanted to get you guys hype as we are about Danielle Hunter being back, looking good. Sheldon Richardson was wearing number 9 at minicamp today, which is odd because I think that's the punter they just cut. But that's the available number for the day. So that's something that'll, when you first see it, you're like, what?
I love that.
He said he won't be wearing that when the season rolls around, but that's what he's going with today.
That's all right. Well, let's plug some stuff, shall we? And we'll get back next week sometime, we hope. We'll update you a little bit on minicamp and then see if anything changes. But it's middle of June. We're inching closer to football. I don't know how it is where you guys are, but it is hot as shit here in Nashville. It's so muggy and humid. I've missed
69 and breezy here.
Nice.
I hate you, Adam.
Well, let's go backwards from what we usually do first. Kyle West is going to plug some stuff that you guys need to check out.
Yeah, you should check out some of my artwork using the link down below on the screen. I have all kinds of stuff available. I am adding new stuff all of the time, so check it out. You can get Purple People Podcast merchandise on there as well, too. If you ever want us on a shower curtain, you can get us on a shower curtain. You could get us on a coffee mug or any number of other options. So check it out. You might see something you like.
Yeah, not just Purple People Podcast stuff. You've got some other great photography that I believe you can get as prints, canvases, coffee mugs, whatever.
Yes. I actually just ordered a bunch of prints here recently because I am entering them into the fair this year.
There you go.
I did not realize they had an open class, so I will take that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I do stuff over on the Viking Age every once in a while. some good content over there from the team that always has something to say about every transaction. Whether it's an idea or just looking at the team from a different perspective, it's a lot of fun. Daily stuff new over there. Check it out. Undead Walking, not updating as much as the Viking Age, but still there's a small team over there that's putting content out about The Walking Dead. Season 6 has come to a close of Fear the Walking Dead. Now it's time to start looking forward to potentially Season 2 of World Beyond. And filming, I believe, is underway for Season 11, the final season of The Walking Dead, which is going to be interesting because I'm a little sad to see that end. But, of course, there's going to be another spinoff, so that's going to be good. The
Cheers,
comic
Lee.
book series, good stuff over there. They're still remaking the comics into color. So if you wanted a chance to collect those, it's a great idea. If you haven't read them before, check them out. Otherwise, I've been really getting into the Walking Dead Survivors game. So if you have picked that up, hit me up on Twitter, MNVikingZombie, which is the same place that you can catch me on Twitch and Instagram, where I post a lot of photos. Today, there's a photo of my cat, Mew, who is celebrating his 19th birthday.
Ooh. Very
Congratulations,
nice.
Mew.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time for a cat to be alive. I think. I don't know. I mean, this is the first cat I've ever personally owned, and I'm assuming 19 is a long time.
Yes.
You love to see it.
Especially since that cat's been through everything, man. He's fought so many things. He's eaten food. My mom, at one point, he was so sick that my mom was spoon feeding him baby food.
Aw.
But here he is, turning 19 today. So, congratulations, kitty cat. That's all I have for this week. I do want to thank everyone who joined us in chat. It's really cool seeing people from across YouTube and Facebook. Not quite Twitch yet. We still haven't been able to get a community over there rolling. But hopefully one of these days we get a Twitch bot every now and then. But
we just need Kyle Smith in a hot tub for the old Twitch community.
I'll be sure to park it. I'll move the Peloton and I'll put a hot tub in here.
Learn to hula hoop and we're all good.
I'll just scream into the microphone from back there. I'll sell my body to Twitch. I'm not above it.
But yeah, I mean, if we can continue to let this community grow, the more people we can get in the chat on the side, asking questions, making comments, helping us steer the conversation towards what you guys want to hear, that helps us create and have a really pleasurable experience during these shows. So thank you to all you guys. And to the people that have messaged me that they just got a nice big old batch of shows for them to listen to on Spotify, thank you very much. I'm glad you went back and listened to some of them, because I know that even though it's been a couple weeks, it's cool that you're willing to go back and listen to us talk about Vikings news. And honestly, that means so much.
We'll keep the rotation in on, I use Apple Podcasts, so I'm uploading those. We have the 2 most recent shows available, and we're going to restart the library from there. I'm sure if you really want to check us out in all the old episodes, everything's on YouTube. Thank God you can have our whole library there. But if you're a podcast user and you're on the go and you can't watch the video,
for better or worse, it's all on YouTube.
We'll look back at that when we're 50 and like, oh my God, what were we thinking? You can look back in the Apple Podcast stuff specifically. We're going to have the most recent shows available because we have a storage amount. So once we get close, we'll delete the oldest one in there, but we'll keep a fresh rotation of 4 or 5 of the latest episodes, and we'll get this one up hopefully tonight when the internet allows and it's fully published. So,
but yeah, keep sharing and liking and subscribing and leaving us good notes on wherever you listen to us, because the more this community grows, the better the show is going to get. That's just the statement of it all. So we'll be back. We don't know when. It might be a week, might be 10 days, but next time we'll get together. Hopefully, it'll be all three of us, like this time, which is I love having the three of us together. It's good stuff.
It is,
and we can all talk more Vikings football. Thanks again.
What free agent will we have next time to talk about? Larry Fitzgerald? Maybe.
D.D. Westbrook.
Probably not.
Let's do D.D. Westbrook. Let's get Adam pumped so he can just take over the show and be giddy for an hour.
Johnny Manziel.
Ugh.
Oh God.
Okay.
Vikings fans want Johnny.
I don't want it.
I did.
They've always wanted Johnny.
I am not a scout.
Episode 439. I am not a scout.
Yeah.
All right. Stay classy, Minnesota.